Hello everyone and welcome to this training video in which we will see the complete start up and shutdown procedure for the Airbus H145, and this time we are in a Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and it's actually the first helicopter of Microsoft Flight Simulator that I'm doing a full start up and shutdown procedure. And I just want to mention that as a simmer, I find X-plane to be better for helicopters. I can't say for airplanes because I don't fly airplanes, but for helicopters, on many points, X-plane is better than Microsoft Flight Simulator. But having said that, I'm not saying that if you are in Microsoft Flight Simulator, you're not going to be really having good time, flying your helicopter. I'm not saying that it's not possible to learn as a flight simmer, of course, not as a real pilot. I'm not saying that it's not possible to learn, but overall I find X-plane to be much better. Now, having said that, there are only two helicopters I fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it's 2020, not 2024. I don't have 2024. It's this helicopter here, the H145 by High Performance Group, HPG for short, and the other helicopter is the H160, still by HPG. Okay, and because certain limitations due to Microsoft not having certain features that X-plane has, maybe the video of Microsoft Flight Simulator are going to be a little bit different. I'm just hoping you will understand. So first off, we don't have AV tab here. We have a sort of equivalent, but guess what? Of course, it's payware. Fortunately, in this helicopter, you have a very functional EFB. If you purchase the helicopter, you will read the manual and everything is explained. And here, there is EFB Connect, but for some reason I can't get it to work. So what I did is some screenshots of the checklist, and this is what I'm gonna use. So here, before start, okay, anti-collision light switch check on. I leave the helicopter with anti-collision light switch on, but when you load the helicopter, or if you select cold and dark, still in the setup here, the switch will be off. So I put it on and I open my door before starting recording, so that you know. Okay, now battery master switch engage, then on. Okay, so battery master switch, okay, you have to put it down, engage, and then it will get back to on. Okay, then it goes back to on. And once again, my track IR is a little bit different in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So once again, I hope you will understand the limitations that I have to face. I'm not in X-plane, I'm in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay, so power test. Okay, now it's doing the test. Now power test. Okay, you can acknowledge any message and scroll if there are more than those lines here to read the master list. Okay, and that's the master list we just checked. Power up test. Okay, maybe I will have to zoom. There it is, power up test. Okay, next, VMS display. Okay, so this is MFD4, MFD1, MFD2, and MFD3 you will see it in the H160, but because it's missing here, this remains MFD4. Okay, so this is the VMS. Now, just in case you don't have this screen, maybe you were pressing those soft keys before. Okay, nav aid, and this is the VMS. Okay, you just press it and you will get this screen. So what is it saying? Num wait validate previous. Okay, so here we click on num so that we have the actual numbers here, easier to read. Okay, now we don't have any payload, We have only crew and empty, etc. So if you want to make any change, that's what you will be using. Okay, so let's put it back to what it was. 155. Okay, and then you validate here, VAL validate, and you press previous. Okay, you will have this part on the MFD4. Okay, so let's continue. Cyclic, collective, centered, locked. Okay, so collective here it's locked. Okay, cyclic, centered, and you can also verify here. This icon represents a cyclic is centered. DC voltage check greater or equal to 23.5. Okay, 24.3 it's greater than 23.5. Engine off test perform. Now there are two types of tests, engine on and engine off. So the engine off test is flight control check. So we just and I can already see just by looking at the shadow here, movement. Okay, pedals and cyclic. It will unlock by itself. You just have to raise the collective. It unlocks by itself. I wish this was interactive. There it is. Okay, and then EFB update, that's the electronic flight bag. You just update it. Now engine start up checklist. I cannot zoom that image yet. It will be this size, so but I can zoom the view. Anti-collision light switch, just confirm it's on. There it is, on. All the lights will be here. Okay. Prime pumps switches 1 and 2 on. So just be careful, it's the prime pumps that we need to switch on, those two. Now alternate first engine start up according to company procedures. Now some companies will tell you to, depending on the date, if it's an odd number, you start engine 1 first. If it's an even number, you start engine 2 first. Like for example, the 3rd of the month, you will start engine 1 first. Maybe the 14th of the month, you will start engine 2 first. Others will tell you just to alternate. If you started with engine 1 and then you shut down, then later in the day you need to start up again, then you will alternate, that is you start engine 2, it depends. So here I'm just gonna start engine 1 first. So engine 1, idle. Okay, there's the switch here, off, idle and flight. So up, idle, so it's engine 1 that I started. Okay, start, TOT rising, N1 rising, all temperature and pressure, hydraulic. Okay, you wait until it gets to idle. Okay. Usually you have to start both engines for the test to be okay. So here you repeat for 2. To idle, same thing, start, TOT rising, start up engine 2, and when this is on idle, we'll check, there it is, start up test, okay. I will still wait for this to get to idle, there it is. Okay, so here if you have any messages, just acknowledge, it's just telling us autopilot is off. We will turn it on at some point. Okay, so this is done. Now just click on this and off to start now. Static heat, both switches on. There it is, static heat, co-pilot and pilot. Now there are a bunch of switches I have to turn on. Avionics switches 1 and 2 on, and standby battery on. Because they are close together, that's why I read them together. So avionics 1, 2 on, standby battery on. Okay, and now let me read it. I know how to do it. I'm just gonna read the checklist. Prime pumps 1, 2 off, transfer pumps on. Okay, so prime pumps off, transfer on. There it is. LAVCS switch PIL. Okay, so this will kind of dampen the vibration that you will feel in the helicopter. And then DC reset switch as required. Okay, when you switch it on at the back, your crew will have current to operate their equipment. Okay, so here let me show you. There is only me and my co-pilot, and it's passenger variant. Okay, if it's the HAMS variant, and actually this helicopter has many variants, which we will cover one by one. So here, if you need to provide electricity at the back, you turn it on or you leave it off. Okay, so here I'm just gonna leave it off. Internal and external lights, once again, as required. If you want to dim thing or make it brighter, like for example here, I'm just gonna turn the strobe light on, or let's go ahead and also put the position light on. Okay, heating and ventilation, once again, as required. If you need heating, here you can bleed heat, turn it on, and then you can use this switch here. Okay, if you want some heating, but here I'm just gonna turn it off. We don't actually require it. As required. Okay, so just show you how to do it. Now for IFR flights. Okay, because that will be testing all your systems. So pre-flight test. Okay, perform. The switch is here. You put it on pre-flight, and actually we will be doing the lamp test later. So just put it on pre-flight. It will be doing its test. Okay, pre-flight test. It's a self-test. You just wait until it has completed the test. Pre-flight test. Okay, there it is. And then avionics set. Okay, so you set your flight plan, your transponder frequency, nav, com, anything you need, you set it now. You could even set it later, but as per the checklist, you just make sure you've set your instruments properly. Okay, now if time permits, perform engine on. Okay, that is when the engine is idle. The test once per day. Now what does this mean? Sometimes you have an emergency, you can skip that test, but later, maybe when you return, before shutting down, you perform the test. But if time permits, you can do the test. Okay, so here, because we don't have any emergencies, we can do the test. So first test, AFCS trim test. Now I don't know if we are going to be actually seeing it here, but the trim, you know, the hat switch that you use to trim the helicopter, you just move it, and usually, oh, it's moving. Oh, it's simulated. Okay, I hope you can see. Maybe if I zoom a little bit. Okay, when I'm trimming, okay, the stick is moving. Wow. Okay, so it's modeled. Okay, now that test is performed and it's okay. Now next test, lamp test, as I was talking about. Now usually you if you release it,
audio test.
Okay, normally if you release it goes back to off, but anyway, we will have to switch it back to off. Just remember this. So everything that can be light up, exit, okay, warnings, all the lights are going to come on. Actually it's hold, and then when you release it goes back to its position. So here we'll just put it back to off. Pre-flight test we just did, hydraulic test. So this one, unfortunately, you're not going to feel anything. Okay, but still, to do the test, you put one system on, like system 1. Okay, put it off, and you will have there it is. What you can see there. The other will be down, low pressure, hydraulic 2, and you move just a little bit to see that you still can use the controls, and then you just repeat for the other one. There it is, system 2. Now the opposite is going to happen. Okay, this one is going to come up, this one down, and it will tell you. Let's wait for this one to go up, and hydraulic 2 should go off. There it is, and hydraulic 1. Okay, and same thing here. Just check that you can still move the controls, and then you will put it, of course, back to center position. Okay, fire protection test. Okay, let's do for one and then the other. So you just put this down. There it is. You will have the chime. Engine 1 fire. Okay, actually there are other messages that should be displayed. Okay, it should have pages. Okay, bottle 1, bottle 2. So let's put it back to top position. And then we will repeat 4. There it is. Repeat 4, number 2.
Fire. Engine 2, fire.
Fire bottle 1 to use. Fire. There it is. That's the fire test. And of course, you put it back to. As you can see, it takes a few minutes to do. System heating test performed. Is it on or off? It is off. Okay, so usually you take the reading here. Okay, 12 minus 25, 12. As I showed before. Usually you should have an increase. Anyway, that's how you would have done the test. So I'm just gonna put this back. Okay, so the tests are done. And at this point, to close my door. So there it was. If time permits, perform the test. Time permitted, we did it. So before takeoff checklist. Edge toes set and check. Okay. Now there are various ways you can set up the map. Okay, nav aid, yeah, vector dock, topograph, etc. section. Okay, and then you can zoom in, zoom out. Okay, Weather radar, I don't know if it will display for me, but anyway I will do it. Here it's on off, you just turning to on. Okay, but maybe I don't have the plugins or whatever required. And then you will check for any obstacle. It will usually be displayed here. Okay, briefing perform, especially if you have the HAMS variant or offshore variant. You have your co-pilot and your crew. You will perform the briefing. Okay, decision altitude, decision height. Okay, so whichever you want to set. Let's set the decision height. So here the big one is for hundreds, small one is for tenths. So here let's, for example, see 100. Okay, and if you use the small one, okay, so you set it or whatever the decision height you want to use, and then of course when it's highlighted, this will kind of change whatever value is highlighted. Okay, as you will see for the barrow, which we will be doing at some point here. Okay, engine 1 and 2 main features, flight guarded. Okay, so now you put them on flight and guarded, flight and guarded, and verify 101. For some reason I get 103 most of the time, but we just make sure NR is 101. Hopefully it will be 101. 101. Stay there. You see, it will. I get 103 most of the time. 100. Okay. Anyway. So warning. That is what 103. Warnings and master list. Check no warnings. Okay. Autopilot, backup SAS. We will be required to put it on anyway, but since it is a message being displayed, there it is, backup SAS here, autopilot here. Okay, but it will remind you in the checklist anyway to do this. Autopilot is on. This should go off normally. And then altimeters set. Once again, you either get the information, but here, and once again you just use those features here to set the altimeter. So it's 1014. Okay, and then you cross check that it's 1014. Like here you see it goes north. There it is. This is usually the co-pilot will do his side of things. I just wish I was Sim, because I don't have an actual co-pilot. Instruments, I will just, and autopilot's on. Okay. Now at this point, okay, you've already entered your flight plan, communication, navigation, everything. You take off, you perform your flight or mission, wherever it is, and now you've landed. We're going to be doing the after landing checklist. Okay, of course the flying and the different, it's very complex. There are lots of things to be covered, so there will be several videos on this helicopter, which we will see one by one. So here, cyclic, centered, collective, locked. Okay, cyclic, centered, collective, locked, internal, external lights as required. So okay, I will just leave the lights as we are. Autopilot's off. Weather radar standby. Okay, so it will be free from because I can't really see the knob, so it will be test standby. Okay, engines 1 and 2 switches, just acknowledge this. Idle for at least 30 seconds. Okay, now that was what I was talking about. Now that you have put the engines on idle, if we did not do the test because maybe it was an emergency, we had to take off ASAP, it's now that you perform the test that we did here. Okay, but do it at least, you have to do it once per day. But we've already done the test, so we can go ahead. Engine 1 and 2 main switches off, and also you can turn all the lights off except anti-collision and battery, but I will follow the checklist here. Engine 1 and 2 main switches off, and we will apply rotor brake when this is below 50. So that goes. When it is below 50, rotor brake is to the side here. Battery discharging, yeah, I'm gonna switch off in a moment. So here 50, so that's the rotor brake, just apply, and then all switches except anti-collision and master battery. So starting from here, okay, those guys, if those guys were on, turn them off. Same thing here, whatever is on, you turn off. Okay, except for battery and anti-collision light, which will remain on anyway. Flight report, check. So VMS, okay, because we want the map, and then report. There it is. So block time means since you started the engine till shutdown. That's block time. Flight time is, the name itself say your flight time, but since we did not fly, that's why it's 0, and then you will have the N1 and N2 flight and cumulative. Okay, and whatever test you want to do, there it is. So flight report, okay. Now battery master switch off. Okay, so completely up, there it is, and it remains there, off. Now this cannot be switched off, but if you wanted to, okay, you could in the real life, okay, turn this off also. So there it is. If you want to hide it, you can allocate a switch, if you want to hide it in flight so that you have a better view in front of you. There it is. So this was a complete start up and shutdown procedure for the Airbus H145 by HPG Group, High Performance Group, for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And by the way, the helicopter is also available for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which I don't have. I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in another video. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.